There's a bit more financial discretion on some of these procurement purchases, and that sometimes goes over the radar of the vendor's marketing team, maybe not appreciating exactly how that happens.
So I had a company for quite a number of years that primarily did technology development projects, and we were focused on the Fortune 100. One of the things that ended up getting pulled into was consulting work with global procurement groups. That led me to be able to sit in on a lot of these buying committees as an insider behind the closed doors and watch what was going on. And at the same time, for years, I was selling into these companies. So I was on the other side of the table as well. When I made that jump from selling into the companies to being behind the closed doors in these buying committees, it was very much a revelation. I think almost everything that marketers believe happens in those buying committees have nothing to do with what really happened. And you really see this reflected in the way they do the marketing. And you'll hear very absurd stuff people say. For instance, we've got to reach the CFO, and we've got to reach the CISO or the CIO because we need to be able to influence them. These people don't do this. They have people 14 layers below them on the org chart that's in there. They don't even know these things exist. And the question I always ask people is, do you really think the CFO at Google sits in on the buying committee for choosing the toilet paper for the employee bathrooms? Probably not. Now, this is all done by much, much lower level people in the company than people imagine. And even in much smaller companies, you look at companies that are 50, 100 million that will have structured procurement processes. And you do not have the CFO or the CEO sitting on these things. You have people layers below them. And the problem is that you don't know these committees exist and you don't know who sits on them. So there's really no effective way to target them. And the organizations tend to be very careful about this. In fact, if they catch you leaking this information, HR will come and have a very unhappy conversation with you because they don't want this kind of information being leaked out of the company.
Some of these ABM programs, account-based marketing programs, they'll try to figure out who the key decision makers are, put them in an audience, and they'll, hey, just target, these people within the organization, you'll be done. And I'm like, number one, how do you know that audience is even matched in the first place?
In general, you're not going to go to Sixth Sense and have them tell you who's sitting on the buying committee because they don't know either.
And then secondarily, senior executives don't have time to be fighting around on LinkedIn and Facebook all the time. It's generally their EA or PA that's controlling their LinkedIn account anyway. So not even talking to the executive, even if it is them online,